Hello friends, this is Juan Enrique Toro coming to you once again, offering you ideas to help you reduce stress, anxiety, and worry, particularly in the situation that we're facing these days with the COVID-19 virus. We did a video last week offering you the emotional freedom technique. This is a more basic approach to what we're doing, and it's really based upon something that I heard this week, which I really liked. It said, serve your happiness first, and the rest will fill in. Well, I mulled that over a little bit, and I realized that it was very resonant of a teaching from Jesus when he says, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all else will be added. I think the two expressions are saying basically the same thing. What did Jesus mean about the kingdom of God? Well, without getting too deeply theological, we need to understand that Jesus was not talking about a kingdom at a future time, maybe after when we die. Jesus was talking about a present reality, something that was available to us right here and right now. He also used the word seek, which implies that it's not something that we are currently expressing, but that we have access to. Seek means that if you're going to look for something, you should be able to find it. So he says, seek ye first the kingdom. Look for it because it's there and you will find it. This is really important to know, because if we're going to look, we need to know that we're going to be able to find it. So seek ye first the kingdom, and know that if you look for that first, then all else will be added. So what is the kingdom of God? Again, without getting too deeply theological, to me, the kingdom of God is a sense of well-being in every area of your life. It is awareness of God's presence. It is a oneness consciousness, let's say. It's a sense of peace and freedom and happiness. And it is also the understanding that whenever life's challenges come up, and we experience things like fear and worry, stress and anxiety, that there is a way to navigate those emotions, to free ourselves from those emotions so that we can return to a state of deep well-being. Is it a deep confidence in the process that we can engage in to release those fears and to come into a state of well-being, or what we could call a kingdom consciousness, serving our happiness first. So having said that, what does that mean for us as we face this stressful, fearful situation of the COVID-19 virus? Well, it means to tell us that what we need to do is be very aware of where we are in our emotional reaction to the news we hear and to the situation that we're facing. We need to find a way to move from any stress or anxiety or worry to a place of peace, to a place of well-being, to a place of knowing that all is well. And that's what this video is all about. Like I said, last video I did, we talked about emotional freedom technique that's available to you. But this is a more basic approach because it is based on the idea that what we need to first do is recognize our emotions and then be able to move from there. A little process I'd like to offer you. First of all, emotional awareness is very important for us. We don't want to be just putting on a plastic smile saying everything's all right. We want to be aware of where we are emotionally. So if this thing is scaring you, if you're worried, if you're stressed, be aware of that. And when we become aware of that, we can even feel it, identify it as part of the body. Maybe I feel it in the solar plex. Maybe I feel it in the back of my neck. Maybe I got a headache. Maybe I'm concerned every time I cough or I hear somebody cough. We need to be aware of the emotional reaction that we're having. That's really important. And then what comes naturally after that is to say, well, you know, I'm feeling this, and I really would like to go from that feeling to a feeling of peace, feeling of stability, of vitality, of life, of happiness, of freedom. And that is akin to saying a prayer. In fact, that is a prayer. Prayer is nothing more than the expression of our desires. And you know, the thing about prayer is that the second step of this is that whenever we express a desire, we ask, we know immediately that the solution is there. Again, Jesus said, ask and it shall be given. He didn't say there was any doubt in that. He didn't put any time frame on that. He just said, ask and it shall be given. What this tells us is that if we ask, a solution is given every time. Now, the truth is that that solution is given in the form of an invisible reality, invisible potentiality. It is our job then to take that solution, to take that idea, and to move it from the invisible realm to the visible realm to the manifest reality that we live in. That's our spiritual work. That's our spiritual process. And we do that by aligning ourselves vibrationally to the solution. We understand that when we come in harmony with what is already been given, that it does become manifest in our life. Our thoughts become things, we say. Well, that's what we need to do. To move ourselves from a consciousness that we don't want into a consciousness that we do want, in that movement, we have the transformation of our thoughts, of our emotions that help manifest our reality. So, how do we do this? How do we engage this? Well, basically, it's engaging our faith. This is what we call the movement of faith. One definition that I like from faith is the one that Charles Fillmore offered. He says, faith is the perceiving faculty of mind, joined with the ability to shape and form substance. The perceiving faculty of mind. What he is saying is that we have the ability to be able to perceive that invisible reality, that potentiality that has not yet been manifest. We can perceive it, we can see it, and we can feel it. And when we do, then that becomes a manifest reality in our world. However, the challenge is we need to perceive it, see it, and feel it before, let me say that again, before it becomes a three-dimensional reality. There's the trick. That's the spiritual work. We need to work to feel it before we actually see it with our eyes. So for example, let's assume that you have a house and it has a garage, but the garage is empty. And you dream of the day that that garage would have a nice new car in it. You really want a new car there. But you're constantly looking at the garage and you're feeling sad about it. You're feeling, boy, I really would like to have a car in that garage. You're thinking, boy, those cars are sure expensive. They're never going to be in my life, especially the new ones. If you're talking about that, if you're seeing the garage empty, the garage will never be full. You will continue to manifest an empty garage. And yet if you say, I would like to have a new car in that garage, right away the spiritual energy says that car is available to you. The answer is given. The solution is given. Now what you need to do is align yourself vibrationally to that solution. And what this means is that you need to activate your faith. You need to perceive that the car is there. You need to see it. And what's more, you need to feel it, again, before the actual car is there. So what does this mean regarding this COVID-19 virus? Well, once again, we need to be aware of what our feelings are. Again, where do you feel it in the body? Recognize it. We never want to deny our feelings. We never want to deny or detour or squash down any of the feelings that we have. We want to acknowledge them. And those that don't serve us, we want to take their power away. We want to deny that those emotions have power over us. So we can use our words to help us do that. We can say things like, I got this news today and I'm really feeling fearful about this situation. But I'm going to deny that those feelings have any power over me. I deny that they have any power over me. And we can affirm that, and we can know that, and we can begin to feel that and work with that. Taking the power away from the feelings is exactly what we need to do, because once we create that openness, once we deny the power, then we can begin to use our affirmative power to affirm what we do want. And what we want is a sense of vitality, of life, of freedom, of peace, of happiness. And so we might say things like, the Spirit of God is strong within me. I vibrate with God's life and love. Again, an affirmation that Charles Fillmore wrote when he was in his 90s. He says, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. Powerful affirmation of vitality, of life. And that affirmation will help move us in the direction of the manifestation that we're looking for. And so, how do we go through the day? We go through the day doing what we need to do, and when we notice the fear come up, maybe somebody coughed, maybe some news came in, maybe somebody told us something, kind of surprised us, kind of provoked a little bit of worry response. We recognize that. We're emotionally aware. We say right away, I really don't want to feel that way. I'd like to feel peaceful today. Right away, that prayer, that request is answered. Now, we look at it, we feel it. We say, I'm feeling that anxiety, I'm feeling that stress, but I know that it has no power over me. We can say that a few times. You know, stress, I can talk to it as if it was some kind of being. You know, stress, anxiety, I feel you, I see you, I even smell you. But you know what? You have no power over me. You have no power over me. And you say that a few times to free yourself of the energy load that may have. And then, after you've said that, maybe you can follow that up with some affirmative statement. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith. We do that again and again during the day. And we live in a day in which we try to put less and less attention upon the stress, the anxiety, the worry. We take its power away and we don't give it much attention. We just let it be. Take its power away and just let it be. And put more attention into our happiness, into our peace, into our joy, into our life. What's really working for you? So as you go through your day, you might just sit down to that first cup of coffee and you might say, boy, I really like this cup of coffee. And you really put a lot of attention on that magical moment when you drink that first cup of coffee, and it is so fulfilling for you. The other day, I looked up in the sky and I happened to see a bird flying across a blue sky, and it was just so majestic and so beautiful. It's a pretty ordinary sight, but just that moment was so heartwarming. It was filling. You might remember a time when you and a friend had a very hearty laugh. Appreciate that. A tender touch of a loved one, a family member. Appreciate that. Give attention to that. The feeling that you are content, maybe afterwards, after you've had a nice meal. You have a nice meal and you feel, boy, that was just wonderful. Well, you give thanks for that. You give attention to all of these things. On Sunday morning, I woke up and we have a little crystal that hangs right in front of our window. And when the sun gets to be at just the right angle, it hits that crystal and the entire room is filled with rainbows of color. And for me, it was a transcendental moment. It was just God's grace filling that room, and I just feel that, and I can still feel the power of that moment. Those are the feelings, those are the senses that you want to hold on to. You want to give power to that, because that's aligning you to what you want, which is freedom from stress and anxiety. You want to give a lot of power to those things that make you feel happy, free, peaceful, joyful. You want to give less attention to the stress, the anxiety. Do that more and more. Or, as I heard earlier this week, serve your happiness first and the rest will fill in. Or as Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom and all else will be added. This is Juan Enrique Toro reminding you that life is consciousness and consciousness is life.